Hello! Welcome to Vampire the Masquerade Dark City. I'm going to be Doug, the storyteller for the evening, and I'd like to introduce the cast.
I'm Angela, also known as Gangrel Kitty, and tonight I will be playing Lillith.
I am Ryan, otherwise known as Voice Ryleased, and I will be playing Herkermer Milton.
Hi, I'm Michael, and I'll be playing Hannibal Wagner.
And I'm Xylus, and I'll be playing Charlie.
Okay. Let's go ahead and so continuing with the trend from last week, we are going to be shouting out streams that have been collected and aggregated by the wonderful folks at Vancouver by Night. So first, a shout out to Vancouver by Night for putting this wonderful document together for the entire community. You can find the document at the VTM subreddit if you're just curious and want to peruse. But we're going to be moving down to Tuesday now to Los Angeles Youngbloods, who they stream 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you can find them at twitch.tv/Adam ATOMIVOX. Please go ahead, check them out, show them some love, tell them that we sent you. I'm moving on to a couple game announcements about the stream and rules and things that we missed and other things. So we last week we had some roles, player versus player roles. After discussing it and having my thoughts on it, one of the things I don't like seeing is in a role-playing game is just cascading roles against a player versus player. I really don't find a use for it, and I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't really enjoy watching that sort of thing. I'd much rather have disputes and tension and drama between players resolved between them. So I'm kind of adopting a Blades in the Dark rule, where basically there can't be any roles against another character from one character to another. So they'll have to discuss how that resolves and come to some sort of reconciliation about how that resolves. We also had a use of Bloodhound, the Bloodhound merit last week. Bloodhound merit, after reviewing it, can only really be used against mortal vessels to determine what type of resonance they are. Last week allowed Herkermer, but to determine the resonance that it is. But Herkermer, being a blood alchemist himself and practiced in the ways, still would have been able to find the appropriate information. Last but not least, there's a kind of a canon thing last week. I was referring to Emily as Amy a lot. Sorry about that. It's Emily, not Amy. That was attacked last week in Charlie's Labs. So for all of those out there who are watching this live with us and supporting us, of course we love you. But you can help us out extra by visiting our YouTube channel, or if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe and ding the bell for notifications. We are trying to reach 100 subscribers so we can get our own custom URL. We're just over half, and we wouldn't have gotten there without the love and support we've gotten. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's be vampires. Tonight we take a different tack. Instead of abstract parables or metaphors and how they may take meaning, we're going to talk about something much more functional. Coteries. Vampire society is consistent of many who dwell with the beast. All are isolated lone hunters wandering through darkness looking for victims. Obviously, this brings conflict and contrition. So, a society of hunters, of killers, must find some way to create order, even if it is amongst an anarch movement. They form coteries, these bonds in which they can carve out patches of territory or domain, as they're sometimes called, so they can divide their victims evenly. Coteries are a bond which forms the cement of all kindred life, or unlife, rather. But coteries often have contrition, because they are not banded together out of friendship or trust. Those things are not easily won and often destroyed by the beast. They are banded together by hunger. And they must struggle with their humanity of each other over the depredations and urges of the beast. Tonight, we rejoin our coterie in our dark city to find that things are not so easy at home. Rain falls once again, still continuing the same night after an argument, suspicions that were raised against members of the coterie. The beast threatening to break apart this newly formed fragile chain that they had created for themselves. Coterie separated. Hannibal, driven by compulsion that had been inherited because of his blood, because of his clan, committed a ruthless action, trying to find the answers before others, believing others were inept or unable, maybe, for a brief moment. When he regains his senses, the curse of night that feasts on his blood. Hannibal went and sought out another member of the coterie who had gone to Walmart. He followed her, stayed outside because the bright lights often hurt Hannibal's eyes these nights. As Lillith did her shopping, she gathered the supplies that she wished to secure, mostly for her cat that she had acquired. She stops at a newspaper rack. As often as a paramedic, she often finds many moments alone. So she has taken to reading newspapers and magazines over the years, and acquiring them from the store and bringing them with her. So she has something to read on her moments off. As a mere habit, she picks up a newspaper. The article on the front line emblazoned, "Abductors strike again." A series of abductions that had been plaguing the city for months, making routine headlines, made headlines once again. She doesn't bother reading the details, wanting to save these things for later, or when she will actually have time. She checks out, moves to the parking lot, where she finds Hannibal parked in the lot right next to her. Now, you had told me that you would put away your things in the car and follow her back. Do you want to begin the scene at the parking lot where you meet, or would you rather skip ahead to where you are both at Lilith's haven?
I say let's start at my haven.
Yeah, we'll say that Hannibal mentions that he wants to have a conversation with Lilith after he helps her bring in all the cat stuff, you know.
Okay. You curtly mention that you want to talk. Help her put her things in her vehicle. She drives back to her haven where you follow her in your car. You park outside her residence, or do you park the car somewhere else?
I'll park down the street a ways and then head towards Lilith's place.
Okay. So once you park the car, you walk up to her residence, you knock, she answers. You do, as you approach her house, you notice a squawk of the bird that you had the interesting encounter with earlier in previous episodes. Still sitting there, perched on its bench, or its branch. It looks at you quizzically. You get the impression that even though it doesn't have the ability to make facial expressions, when it gives you a glance or cocks its head, it kind of seems to be imparting some sort of emotion. It's a very strange sort of thing. It's definitely intelligent, and it's watching your move. It doesn't look afraid or defensive, because it seems to have accepted your presence. But it might be curious as to why you're here. In either case, it does not make any action as you knock on Lilith's door, and she answers, and you enter.
So I don't really know how to approach this, but this is a coterie. What does that mean? And who's in charge? And what is going on?
Every coterie has different structure, in a sense. Some might have one person who leads, or two. Some might be more democratic. And I think based on the conversations with Charlie in front of the Red Queen the other night, that we all have a voice in this coterie. I had pointed that out to Charlie because his clan is known for being ambitious, having an ego, and I was sort of worried that Charlie would think that simply because he's a Ventrue that means he's in charge, despite his expertise with the situation or his experience as a lick.
And your accusations against Herkermer, I think, were completely unfounded. Sure, the circumstantial evidence was there, but if we start blaming each other and looking at each other with suspicion, we're gonna crumble.
Why should I trust Herkermer?
Why should any of us trust any of us? We're
Talking about
vampires.
look
Sorry.
at the specific circumstances by which we all met. Or by the circumstances that I met all of you. I'm not friends with Charlie. I was told to protect him. I'm not friends with Herkermer. If you hadn't said something about why you keep him around, I wouldn't have cared if he left. But as I sort of hinted at when we first talked, your experience reminds me a lot of my own embrace. And I don't want to see the same things happen to you that happened to me, really.
Oh, I appreciate that. I guess. Where's everybody else?
Back at the hospital? Back at their havens? I don't know.
There's always a shot caller in the group, though, isn't there?
It doesn't have to be. You can tell. Lilith can probably tell that while Hannibal's talking, the pauses and things like that are. It's obvious that something's on his mind, but he either doesn't want to say it or isn't sure how to say it.
You should just, if you have something on your mind, you should come forward with it because I'm lost here.
I'm really lost too. And I don't just mean that in this conversation. I mean, Herkermer and you asking questions, even Charlie, even myself sometimes. We have this perspective that all these other kindred know what they're doing, that they've got it put together. Maybe you think that about me. And you keep, based on what you say and what you do, you feel like you don't have it put together. But none of us do. Not the old ones, not the young ones. And if a kindred says otherwise, it's all bullshit. Yeah, they play their games and they learn actions that eventually become rote actions. How to cover the masquerade. What is the Sabbat? What is this? What is that? But they still don't know what the fuck they're doing. Don't let your experience, however limited you feel, mean that you don't get a voice, that you don't get to make decisions for yourself. This is your eternity, potentially. And if you put your hands, your life in someone else's hands all the time, they might make a decision that leads to your death.
That's fair. Oh. I don't know. I don't know what to make of the attack. I don't know what to make about all of this. I'm still going to my job.
Yeah. I mean, with everything, Herkermer said it. Although I may not agree with the context in which he said it, he said it. This is all fucked up. We're all fucked up. But there are worse people out there. There are worse vampires out there. There are worse monsters out there. And there's nothing to keep us from using whatever we have to stop those monsters or to not live like them. You made a choice to kill someone. And despite how you may feel about it, that's not going to be the last time you have to make that choice again. One day, it may not be soon, maybe years from now. But you're eventually going to have to take another life. They say that a kindred, if it's going to walk into the sun, will do it in the first 50 years of their life. Some just can't accept what they are.
Well,
Go ahead.
I don't feel particularly suicidal currently, so I suppose that's not my choice. For now.
I wasn't implying you should or anything like that. I was simply just trying to point out that there's a long road ahead. And there's a lot of time to learn. But if you think about that first bit of advice I gave you, no one can be trusted. Not me, not Charlie, not Herkermer.
I'll keep that in mind.
The beast pushes us to do things, And whether
Yeah.
we agree with them or disagree with them, still happens.
Where are you having this conversation in your home, Lillith?
Probably in the living room and kitchen area.
Okay. Where did you set down your supplies, the things that you had purchased from Walmart?
Probably in the living room area.
Okay. On the top of the one of the bags that you had set down in the living room, you see a newspaper article, Hannibal. Just as you're looking away and thinking, you glance, and the newspaper article, newspaper which is folded in half. You can read half of the headline. It says "Abductor."
Can I see that?
What, the newspaper?
Yeah.
Sure. I'll grab it and hand it over to him.
You receive the newspaper. It says the article headline, of course, reads "Abductors Strike Again." Another abduction in a series of abductions, serial abductions. Looking over reading through the article, one Lily Graham was abducted 2 nights ago. She was a waitress who was on her way home. She was receiving a ride home from her coworker who had dropped her off. Her coworker, Colleen Teals, had driven down the street and then realized that Lily had forgot something and turned around. And when she went up to her house, she noticed that the door was open and that Lily was gone. No sign of struggle or anything like that. It has the typical stuff that newspaper articles, police are identifying if you have this. It also reiterates the fact that this is another series in a rash of abductions that have been taking place for over a year, of individuals who have been taken, and it has a list of the individuals and on the insert, because how newspaper articles end and then you have to continue them on like E3 or something. It has a picture of the individuals who have been abducted, like missing persons.
You have interest in this, or?
No, I just usually buy a newspaper and take it with me to work. Do you know anything about this?
No.
Oh.
I knew someone that was taken.
Like, recently?
I think it was several weeks ago at this point. I've sort of been looking for them.
I mean, do you think it's one of us?
I don't know. Maybe.
Wouldn't that be a breach of the Masquerade?
There's serial killers in the world and horrible people. The world is so fucked up, all you gotta do is put a spin on it and people just presume sickos, maniacs. Probably right about Herkermer, though. I probably shouldn't have said that he did it. I still think it's weird. I mean, benefit of the doubt might be that he did it unknowingly.
Yeah, I could believe that.
Maybe like a friend of his chatted him up or something about it. I'm so used to Kindred being very specific way. Everything is by decision. different being around kindred younger than me, you know.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you were wondering?
I think that's all I got right now. But thanks. I appreciate the talk.
Yeah.
You sure you don't have anything else to say?
I've said my piece, in a sense. Anyways, I shouldn't take up too much of your time. It's getting late.
Yeah, we should probably find everybody else.
I think I'm gonna
Have
head back to my haven. Actually, you know,
No party time?
I'm probably good.
All
I think
right.
I'm working on Grayson. And do you have any issue with Grayson being at the commonplace?
I guess not.
I was thinking, you know, we get because Grayson at this point basically doesn't have a place to live. I was thinking maybe we work out a deal with him where if he keeps an eye on the place, he can stay there, basically, right?
That's fair.
It would
We could
give
do that.
it would give him something to do, and would give us the peace of mind of knowing that someone's there, making sure no one's fucking with the place or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Yeah, Hannibal sort of awkwardly says, you know, breaking the very serious conversation, and kind of sees himself out.
Before you go, just one question. Did you hand the newspaper back to Lillith?
I'll say that I set it down, like on a not a nightstand, but you know what I mean, like a side table or something that I was looking at it, we'll say, and then as I sort of awkwardly leave, I put it down and then finish walking out of the apartment.
You walk and you leave to go back to your haven. The night has drawn long. You feel the sun starting to make its ascent to the horizon. You still have enough time, of course, ample time to go back to your haven, where you find yourself alone with your thoughts, with the DVD that you had left running. It was set to an auto play on accident, and you come in to the middle of what you learn after a couple moments is Gogol's overcoat, and you listen for a moment to the perils of Obchek. I think I'm getting that right. A diminutive man, a clerk who does diminutive, meaningless tasks, trapped by a bureaucracy and his tattered overcoat. You find yourself listening to the story as Obchek goes and procures a new coat to try to fit in. But after being mocked and his new coat, getting destroyed, he goes back to his old coat. And he wanders into the winter of Russia in the early 1800s. And dies. You think of the meaning of it. You don't understand. You've never been a film or play or literary analysis Although you took some classes on it when you were being educated in your human life. But the despair, even though punctuated by humor and interesting moments, those fall past you as you feel the despair, the struggle with identity in a system. How does an individual fit in a world controlled and dominated by structures of society and ruled by the beast, as it is in your case? And you fall into torpor. The next evening, since we are beginning a new evening, what we are going to do is we are going to reset everybody to hunger level 1 to presume feeding, because there's going to be some time in the early evening which you will each have the opportunity to feed, unless of course you wish to be set at a different hunger level, like as you did last time, Hannibal. So 2. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and make a rouse check for everybody. Once again, a rouse check is just 1 single die, and you're looking for a success. If you do not succeed, then you go up by 1 hunger level.
Succeeded.
I succeeded as well, so I did not gain a hunger.
I did not. I go up to hunger 2.
I succeeded.
In future episodes, I'll be starting to institute predator and feeding systems, because I do recognize that you guys did take domain size as which impacts your feeding. So keep that in mind. But like in these first episodes, I'm just not going into certain systems because they're, I want to push the story forward. So also, Lillith, because you have succeeded in completing your desire, any superficial willpower damage that you have is healed.
Thank you.
We move to Herkermer, and in sort of a way, Charlie. As the evening sets, the sun falling and the night rising, the beasts and within you awaken. Lillith, you have a shift, so you go to work. As you are working part-time until about half the night. Hannibal, you go about your business. We'll return to you in a moment. Herkermer, you, when you went home last night, you had started packing, from my understanding. Is this correct?
Yeah, I figured we have a better space, so I'm gonna make my way there.
Okay, so you had packed your things. Now, mind you, you don't have much, obviously. So what you did pack, you had to leave the freezer because it's just too big to really haul in your car. But you find yourself awaking the next night, and in your old haven, because you were finishing up, and you arrive at the common coterie haven. Is that correct?
That's where I was headed.
So you arrive there. You are fiddling with your things. At the end of the night, you had said you had contacted Charlie about some ID. So we'll begin there. You are arranging in your space. You managed to find a back room on the first floor that will suit your chemistry experiments quite nice. And you were first to set that up and begin experimenting with the residue that you had. Go ahead and give me an initial roll. Go ahead and it will say it's intelligence plus blood alchemy. And this is going to be a difficulty of 5 successes. It's going to be quite substantial.
Still supplementing hunger dice.
Yes.
Okay. Then I succeed with a messy critical.
A messy critical. Okay. So you distill the different qualities of the formula. Now, mind you, this is you think you may be able, based off your products, that you may be able to replicate the formula given enough time. It is quite substantially more advanced than anything you've seen.
But it is alchemy.
But it is alchemy for sure, for certain. Although it's gonna take you a long time to pin down all the procedures and perfect a formula, because it's well above your skill level.
Right, but it still gives me notes to go off of.
Mm-hmm. And the purpose of it, the purpose of which is you think the purpose is to replicate some sort of kindred strength, to grant strength to the individual who consumes it. So you do know that purpose. You, in the midst of your findings, though, you are mixing things and you become very easily frustrated, as it is with it when you're doing anything that's tedious and time consuming and where you have to keep an attention to detail. You find yourself spilling a little bit of formula that you are attempting to replicate. And a hot flash of anger overcomes you, and you just break part of your alchemy set. You manage to preserve your notes, though, by the time you calm yourself. However, any prolonged alchemy process, you're going to have to go and acquire more supplies and take time for your in-house. You can, or for now, you're only limited to your portable cook kit, as you've labeled it. And then you're just looking at the destruction, going, well,
shit. Go about cleaning it up as best I can. Not trying to leave residue everywhere. And I'm picking up all the glass and shit.
Now, you had contacted Charlie about ID.
I did.
And did Charlie want to meet you at the hospital, or would he come to the coterie headquarters?
Charlie would come to the coterie headquarters.
So you arrive, we'll say sometime later, a little bit further into the evening. You come walking in. I say it was an easy task to arrange a name badge. You don't even need to really manipulate any strings. You just basically pull a name badge off of like a visiting employee, or you know what I mean, a worker. That keep in mind that these sorts of things are any substantial. If you want to put him into grant him a permanent access, you will need to manipulate strings or pull strings to account for who this person is, their social security number, that kind of stuff. Forge a little bit more paperwork. But you do have a temporary badge that will work for at least a month until, such badges, the codes on them are reset, and they usually are turned in.
I'll find Herkermer.
You find him in his newly set up alchemy lab in the back of the first floor. You walk past the superficial, like, sort of, office with some loungy chairs and things like that. Kind of reminds you of a, very workflow oriented. It's very minimalist, obviously, as I said before. You see him kind of grumbling in a frustrated tone amongst shattered glass and beakers and all kinds of other interesting things that you would not necessarily attribute with any sort of chemistry or such things.
Am I interrupting something?
Not interrupting, just coming in toward the end of something. Just getting a little frustrated. How do?
I'm also frustrated.
Well, what are you frustrated about?
Spent the majority of the evening at the hospital last night, and I'm afraid I still have no further clues.
Well, that's because I
But
need
I
to
did-
call my buddy Mitch.
Did manage, because Emily is going to be out for a while, managed to procure a temporary badge. Volunteer. We'll work for a couple of weeks before the passcode resets, but it should do just fine for now. And he'll set the badge on the countertop.
All right. Thank you very much. Herkermer takes it, puts it in his pocket.
I'd suggest coming in through the lab.
That sounds like a good idea. So I was able to confirm that the stuff in the vial was alchemy. It's thin blood alchemy, and it's far more advanced than I know. This is stuff that it's going to take me months to try and figure this out.
Do you have
Months,
any
if not
idea who
years.
might have that ability?
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of that.
Do you have any idea who might have the kind of knowledge to pull that off?
I mean, Desmond might, but but that's because he messes with the stuff more than I do, and I mean, he may know something of this level, but I don't know if he does or not.
Do you know of any of them making any sort of moves around the hospital?
I don't know much about what happens with Desmond. We associate on a random basis more often when he just feels like dropping by. He's kind of flighty like that. But yeah, Desmond is the only other alchemist I know. He's the one taught me everything I know. Till I figure out this scene in the dark thing. No, I do want to go check out the basement under the hospital though. really go check it out, see what's there. So,
Think if I could put a task to you, I would ask if you'd be willing to move any relevant information from there to here.
if I find what you mean, like the books?
Yeah. Anything that references us, our kind, any sort of trick or secret that might be gleaned from any information that might be down there. Materials, whatever could be of use, if you could move those from there to here.
I will see if I can get that done. That's going to take a very long time.
I'm not
You
expecting it
realize.
to be done right away. And I'm planning on doing what I can to also take care of the situation, but other kindred now know, at least in a vague sense, what's down there. And if they know more than we do, which probably likely, they might know
More
what
than
they're
likely.
looking for.
Well, all right. I mean, I've dabbled a little bit in kind of odd things, little astrology, little Ouija here and there. Not much, but I'll see if I can make heads or tails of it.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. But I also do got to find my friend,
Which friend?
Mitch Sloan, the one
Oh.
whose ID was used to get in.
Do we have any idea where he frequents?
I know where he lives. He almost died in the back of my ambulance one night. I saved his life. I know where he lives.
Well, I'll be upstairs waiting while you finish up here.
All right. I think I'm done in here for tonight because kind of hit a wall. Because, like I said,
Is it safe to leave that on the countertop?
leave what on the countertop? Oh, this? No. Like, yeah, that should be fine. I'm going to try not to make too big a mess.
All right. Well, I'm ready to go when you are.
Question.
Hmm.
What was going through your mind when you chose the Sabat guy to die?
That's an interesting question.
I'm just trying to gauge the thought process.
I suppose it's one part weighing my options and another part maybe a little bit of predetermined judgment. You see, I don't know much about Sabat. I've only been told, in short, what they are, what they stand for, relatively. That they're just bad. Kill on sight. Or run away. the other individual, he attacked us. But he was from a sect that we're trying to gain some traction in. If he owes us a favor for sparing his life because he gave us a satisfactory answer, we can gain more from that than we can from a resistant Sabatna. It would have come down to final death with the Sabbat either way. This way, I saved a kindred. I also gained us a little bit more headway with our issue.
Well, thank you
Also,
for
a little
telling
bit
me.
of that comes from judgment.
Well, thank you for your honesty.
I don't know that I made the right move. For all we know, whatever secret he was looking for could be the very thing that damns us all, so...
All right, well, if you'll excuse me, I got a bunch of reading to do unless you want to come with me.
Well, I was planning on going with you to find your friend.
Well, all right, then. Come on, I'll give you a ride unless you got a better car than mine.
I do, but it can stay parked.
All right, you can get my shit box. And as we get outside, you go outside. The car I'm driving, it looks like a shitbox. It's the fenders are being held on by duct tape and Bondo. You know, there are parts of the car that are literally hung by like coat hanger that have been doubled over.
Oh,
You know,
Uncle Buck's boat.
yeah, you know, like one of the side mirrors is missing. One of the windows is just plastic that's been taped on it. You know, it's a shitbox. But when he turns it over to get it going, it runs smooth. There's no hiccuping in the engine, nothing.
I will note that starting it, as previously established in the fiction, can sometimes be a difficulty, however.
True. But is it touchy as I try to take it off this time?
No, you don't seem to have an issue
All right.
this time.
This time.
So, where are we going?
I am headed to my friend Mitch Sloan's house.
Get in your car and you go to drive to Mitch Sloan's house. Mitch lives on the other side of Old Town, so as you travel south out of the Port District, underneath the freeway, into the older part of town where that was originally established as probably a old town center. That's what it seems like. That was largely forgotten for the more industrious growth that probably happened as the town boomed. You travel past Lillith's house. Well, not directly past, but like, you know, past the area of town where she lives. And you end up in the south of Old Town. Mitch lives in a small apartment community. You see stacks of very similarly built apartment complexes, rows of them stretching down until the block comes to an end. They look like they were built sometime in the 1960s, maybe 70s. They have a very old style to them of a kind of, you know, replicated carbon copy apartments with walkways that lead up to the exterior walkways that lead up to the Mitch's apartment, which he lives on the 3rd floor of a very large 15-story building apartment complex. As you arrive on the 3rd floor landing, you go to knock, and there is no answer.
Knock again.
Still no answer.
Are there any cameras that are watching this door?
No. The apartment complex is low, generally low to middle income, so they don't really pay that much attention to security. And even if they did, in this type of neighborhood, security cameras would be quickly smashed by local youth or, you know, thieves or other things. It would so.
All right then. I'd like to pull out my little lockpick set.
Sure.
And set to work unlocking this door if it's locked.
Okay, you can use the choice.
I'm gonna check to see if it's locked first.
It is.
Of course.
Go ahead and give me either a dexterity or intelligence plus larceny. One.
4 successes.
4 successes. Okay. You manage to undo the lock. It seems to be your typical lock. You manage to bypass the small little electric home security thing, which is more or less just kind of cheap, but you know, you do manage to bypass that pretty easily. But you cannot stay in the doorway for very long, otherwise the time delay will probably trigger.
Right.
So do you choose to quickly enter with Charlie or exit? Or what do you do?
I'm like, if you're coming, you got to move quick, and you know, if you're coming, you got to move quick. And I hop through the door.
Charlie stays where he is.
Slams the door behind him.
Okay, you are standing in a very simple living room. You look back; it looks to be a 2-bedroom apartment. You see, you haven't been here in quite some time. But the furniture arrangements, where before Mitch wasn't a very clean person. He kind of seemed to be very busy and come and go and those sorts of things. So his house was generally kind of messy. You notice that his furniture has been replaced with much more nicer sort of prefabricated commercial sort of IKEA sort of stuff. You notice that there is the house is extremely clean. There's still things that you recognize as being his from what you remember. So you're definitely sitting in the right apartment. But there seems to be as though maybe he's taken a roommate, or the personal possessions seem to be more effeminate in nature, where you have like doilies and like, you know, hyper effeminate. I'm not saying like, you know, like you have doilies, cutesy little pillows and that sort of things, instead of like the normal just like plaids and browns and grays of a person who just generally doesn't pay attention to his interior decoration. You notice that everything seems to be more themed, like the person who, one of the people who lives here, cares about their interior decoration. And you look over at pictures very naturally, and you see a picture of Mitch and a person you recognize as the victim last night, Emily. Standing arm in arm. They look like they're somewhere exotic, like on vacation, or a place that's emulating a vacation, or like, you know, place like when you go to the fake jungle gardens of Vegas or something. And they're smiling. They're very obviously on holiday.
Herkermer will go do a little bit of around the apartment. Do I hear any voices? Do I hear any noise?
No, apartment's dark. No lights. Everything. Nobody seems, you know, hear anybody. A quick check of the bedrooms reveals that the bedrooms are empty. You notice that the hospital uniform has kind of sort of been tossed on one of the beds, and the closet's still open, and you know some hangers are kind of like still are on the floor, as though somebody had just tore some clothes off the hanger and left and didn't care. You notice that the refrigerator's still cracked open.
I will go to look in the fridge.
It's just a normal refrigerator, but you do notice that like there's a, you know, a mayonnaise jar that's kind of like with the lid off, and it looks like somebody like grabbed bread out of the package and not sealed it, and you notice a mess of somebody who had made probably a meal, right? Breadcrumbs, that sort of thing, but didn't clean up after themselves. You don't notice any dishes in the sink or anything like that, though.
I would like to give this apartment a real quick once over, looking for hidden compartments, looking for things.
That will require an investigation roll.
That's fine.
And since you're being thorough, we're going to restrict you to intelligence plus investigation.
All right. Two successes.
Okay. A quick cursory search of the, or a thorough search of the apartment doesn't reveal anything hidden. There is a safe underneath the bed, which has just a simple number pad, and there is and you see the logo from Charlie's work. I'm spacing the name of your company at the moment.
St. Peregrine's Hospital.
Well, no, for your specific company. Was not Silver Summit?
Sunrise Group.
Yours was Sunrise Group?
Mine was Silver Summit.
Yeah, you see Silver Summit Industries.
I will quickly put everything back the way I found it, or as close to the way I found it, and I will go over to the picture I saw of them, and I will gently remove it from the frame, and then kind of fold it in half, stick it in my pocket, and then, quick hop out the door before the alarm goes off, shut the door behind me.
Okay. You managed to get out and remove your device that is keeping the alarm from going off, and lock everything and put everything back the way it was supposed to be. And you're standing once again out into the landing with Charlie.
All right, we should probably go, just in case they come back.
Okay. Find anything useful?
I did. Pulls out and shows Charlie the picture. Yeah, that says something super up. Mitch and Emily were dating. This makes it stink. All of it stink.
Does
Pulls
Mitch
the
have
picture
a
of-
kindred connection? Other than you?
Not that I'm aware of. Though he does work in a blood bank. I'm sure he's met other kindred.
Which blood bank?
Our blood bank. St. Peregrine. What's up?
Charlie, like even though you handle most of blood donation and storage and things like that, as I would remind you, there is an army of doctors, residents, nurses, practitioners, and lab technicians that work for the hospital itself, that do part of the services for you. So when you need to go get procure blood or anything like that, you basically just go, hey, I need this, and they deliver it down to you to where you could process, store it, or do whatever you're going to do with it. So there are a lot of employees who work for the hospital who don't work necessarily for you, but work with your company because of the nature of your arrangement with the hospital.
He works for St. Peregrine's. And I'm sorry, if you're dating somebody, you don't go haul off and go after them like that. Not without something crazy happening. Especially what I found with the formula that I discovered. It's meant to give someone strength. So unless Mitch is like me and has been hiding it for a good long while now, there's no way. There's no way it was him, and there's no way it was me. So there is some other party.
You got a place you want to look next?
I know some of his old haunts, but I don't know if he's going to be there. I think he might have been here and we missed him because it looked like somebody was making a meal and they left the fridge open. Which means either somebody left in a hurry or somebody left with someone else.
Maybe we should go back to the hospital and see if Emily's awake.
That sounds like a plan.
So you get in the back of the car and drive back to the hospital. The night is starting to get longer now. You arrive at St. Peregrine's, parking in your normal usual place above ground, in the employees parking lot, as it were, with your shit box. And you re-enter the hospital as you step into the stank and the sweat and the rush of people going back and forth because of emergencies or because they're waiting, or they've been waiting for hours in the middle of the night to be seen by somebody. You walk upstairs to the ICU. The elevator opens for you. Stressed out nurse with her hair kind of disheveled as just looks at you at the waiting desk, or at the desk, and is like, Mr. Allsun? What are you doing here? Oh, sorry. How can I help you?
Here to talk to Emily? She awake?
Oh, no, she's been moved upstairs.
Can you tell me what room?
Yeah, room blah blah blah.
you.
Down to recovering. I don't know what the wings would be called, but like basically where they stage people who have gone from ICU to a recovery sort of situation. So you go up.
I'll thank her for telling me and then start heading upstairs.
She's already turning around, going, "Yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't really want to deal with that. You get her to deal with that. If I have to work another shift, I'm going to be up for like 2 days. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that anymore." Right? And she's already talking to somebody else. As you leave, very awkward sort of conversation with a stressed out nurse. You go upstairs. Lights are out. Seems to be calmer, but you see the nurse's station, and she looks to be very much more relaxed. Like, how can I help you?
For Emily?
Oh, well, normally visiting hours, but you work for the hospital, right? Yeah, okay. I think I've seen you around. Yeah, she's down there. Go ahead and... I think one of her boyfriend's still here too, so...
Look over at Herkermer. Start making our way that direction towards her room.
Mm-hmm. You know,
I'm not going to go into the room. I'm going to stop just shy, like, as close to the door as possible so I can listen in. But otherwise, I'm not giving, like, Herkermer any other special instructions. I'm just...
You hear Emily. She sounds rather... Emily's voice, she sounds rather annoyed. She's like, "Stop worrying over me. I'm telling you I'm fine. I don't know what's going on. I don't remember what happened. Can you stop? I get it. Don't think that just because you're here now that means that we don't have issues. You can't just, like, I just want to watch my TV." Sounds like and then you hear Mitch's voice, and he's like, "But babe, I'm sorry. Like, I work a lot. I work a lot. I try to be there. It's like, I forget." And she's like, "It doesn't matter. I have other people that I can hang out with, and if you don't want to spend time with me, that's fine." Right? And, maybe I'll just... She sounds rather different than she normally sounds with you, like much more candid. Yes, Herkermer.
In kind of the middle of their fight, or like toward the end of it, Herkermer is just going to walk into the room.
You see, first Emily sees you, and she's like, "Who are you?"
"Well, hi, my name's Herkermer. I'm a friend of this guy."
And she looks down, and you see Mitch. He's like kind of like sitting on a chair, and he was facing towards her, away from you. And he turns around as she, indicated there's somebody else in there, and she's like, "Herc?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?"
I came to check on you and Mitch.
This is one of my friends, babe. He kind of he kind of like saved my life. So we're kind of friends. Don't worry. He
kind of friends.
Can you like not be here right now? I understand that you're trying to check up on me and that kind of stuff. This is my girlfriend, man.
Yeah.
This is...
At this point, Herkermer will quickly slide over to Mitch and get right in his ear, put a hand on his shoulder. "Your ID was swiped at the door.
Yeah.
Where Emily got beat."
I know. The cops already have been talking to me all day about it.
"Well, now you get to talk to me about it."
What? And he gives you this look of like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like...
And I'll turn around and give him the stare.
Are you trying to purposely intimidate him?
At this point, yes.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a roll.
Would you which social would you like?
I would say charisma in this case. Well, no, you're just trying to be blunt about it. So blunt force is charisma plus intimidation.
Okay. 0 successes.
He's like, dude, chill out. And you hear Emily chime up behind him. He's like, what? Your friend's weird, and he kind of stinks.
Ma'am, I mean no offense to you, but
Don't I know
thank
you?
you for pointing that out.
I think I recognize you. Aren't you? I think I've seen you before. Have I seen you before?
Yeah. Yes, you have.
Where? My head's still killing me.
In the lab. Down there, downstairs in the lab. You've seen me down there a few times.
Okay.
I was studying to be a hematologist, so I was getting some of my lab work done.
Oh, okay. Interesting. You, Charlie, what are you doing during this situation?
I am remaining out of sight. I'm gonna go actually kind of like... I'm gonna go look at some of the wall literature.
The only wall literature there is well, there's nothing on the outside in the hallway. Just inside the door before you fully enter the room, there's a chart. But other than that, there's no magazines or anything like that. They're all on the situated well within the room.
I'm gonna step off a little ways, and I'm gonna pull out a phone and pretend to text. I don't know. Just appear occupied, otherwise
Okay. You're dead.
Not obviously listening into a conversation that is already awkward.
Right, your dead fingers swipe over an empty screen that is not responding to your touch because of your cold, lifeless hands. As Herkermer, we go back to Herkermer. Mitch is... It's like, dude,
Look.
Why are you here?
Because I need to talk to you about this whole scenario.
Okay, can we...
What happened? What happened to you losing your ID?
I don't know. Somebody stole it, and then they broke in and they assaulted Emily here.
I know. How are you doing?
I'm doing
Emily.
okay. Emily's like, I'm fine. The doctors say I made some sort of miraculous recovery.
Miraculous recovery.
Yeah, they thought I was a goner for sure. I had brain damage apparently, but apparently, I don't know. I've been really thinking about like all those times that, when you're growing up with religion, you know what I mean? It's just kind of strange though. I don't remember. I was standing taking inventory 1 minute and... Why am I telling this to you? Like, no offense. Like, I know you're Mitch's friend, but like Mitch, like if this is your friend, like, is this who you hang out with?
Hey, I saved his life. We talk every now and again.
Oh,
okay, this is not some...
Well, thank you. That's fine. I thank you for saving his life. I appreciate you saving his life. But could
Okay,
you
now,
please tell him that he needs to hang out with his girlfriend more? Instead of ditching me or letting me be late time and time again?
Look, I'm not here to get into the middle of your relationship, That is not my job.
But you just stepped into our room. I'm just saying.
I did, because I was concerned for my friend and I was concerned for you.
Well, thank you. I
And by the way, do you mind if I look at your head? Where you got hit?
No. You can't look at my head. Why? You came here because of him, and why do you even know me? Like, why are you concerned about me? Don't pretend. Don't try to make up for him in this situation.
No, this is not me trying to make up for anyone. This is just genuine curiosity. I may not look like it, but I'm on the trail of something big that involves you two. And I need, if you would please just allow me to see where he hits you. I don't even have to touch you. I just want to see it.
Yeah, she just pulls back. She pulls back her head. There's nothing covering her head. It's like, yeah, it was here, right here, and you see that there's hair. It's obviously missing because they would have cut some of it to try to do whatever they bandage or whatever medical treatment they would have applied. They would have need access to the thing. So there is a strip of hair that's cut from her scalp. But other than that, you don't see it. You see, basically, it doesn't look like she's really been. There's a bruise, but it doesn't look like her skin's broken or anything like that. It's like, yeah, they said my head was caved in. See? And she taps it. So now, weird, strange guy who comes in here saying that he's concerned about Mitch knows me and is concerned about me somehow, which is kind of creepy. And
my apologies. My apologies. Would you like me to leave?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mitch looks over. He's like, "Look, dude. I don't know what you are doing here, but like, it's."
Well, we do need to have a talk.
Sure.
Okay, because I dropped by your place. You weren't there.
Yeah, I wasn't. I went home to change, and that was it. And because they wanted me back here so they can interrogate me.
Well, I wasn't trying to. I'm not trying to interrogate anyone.
Oh, I get it. It's cool. It's a little weird, dude. And he's just like, and then here Emily's like, yeah, it's fucking weird.
I'm weird. Can't help that. But if you'll excuse me, my apologies. And Herkermer will slowly kind of walk backwards out of the room.
Can you? And as you're leaving, you hear them like an argument erupt from both of them. As she's like, your weird friend's coming around, blah blah blah, and then he's like, "What are you talking about? He's just a friend. He was just concerned." He's like, "Hey, he's a hobo." Yeah, and this sort of like bickering that couples can often get into that's very awkward. And you shut the door and leave them to their dispute.
I think there may be more afoot. And we need to have we need to have a discussion somewhere else with, I would say, everyone.
Did I hear correctly when she said she was fine?
Yeah, her head's fine. There's a little bruise on the back of her skull where she got hit, where the medic said her head was caved in. And
can you meet me in the lab? I want to go talk to her just real quickly.
You do you. You want to meet in the lab or the basement?
The lab.
All right.
You can head to the basement. I'll send a message.
All right. So I will Herkermer will start making his way. I will make my way off to go investigate the basement.
So you walk into the room.
Charlie will wait until there's a lull in the fight or argument, and then he will knock on the door.
You hear the argument comes to a lull after about like 15-20 minutes, and then you knock on the door, and then there's quiet. Is like, and you hear a frustrated voice of Emily. It's like, "Come in."
I'll open the door. Peek my head in.
Mr. Allsun, hi. Hi. How are you doing?
Charlie looks very surprised to see her in the state in which she's active.
Okay.
Just mentioning that as a note. He walks in a couple of paces, just enough that, he's fully in view and can see Emily. You're awake.
Yeah. It's the doctors say it's a miracle. Maybe it's the treatment. Like they had to give me a blood transfusion. I lost a lot of blood, and they used some of the blood that we processed. So I think we're doing good work. Don't worry. They'll say they'll let me out next day. I'll be going back, and you could tell Ray to just keep things afloat for me, and I'll be back on top of the job. No time. This is my boyfriend, Mitch. He was just leaving. And Mitch is like, okay.
Charlie will introduce himself. I'm Charlie, supervisor.
Hi, how you doing? Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Like, apparently the cops are telling me that that apparently the break-in was, they broke in using my badge. I have no idea how. I mean, obviously I was issued one because I do lab work in the hospital, and I have to bring stuff into your lab sometimes, but I'm so sorry that this ever happened. I will keep well atop of stuff. Just please don't have.
I'm just happy that Emily's okay.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Bye, honey. And he goes to kiss her, and she's like, whatever, kind of like. And then after a second, she's like, all right. And they get the very stiff, awkward, like, kiss, like, try to, and then he leaves. I'm sorry about that. We were kind of having, it's just a difficult time, Mr. Allsun.
I can understand. So you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing great. It was a little, I didn't even know that anything happened. I was just sitting there doing inventory and like normal, and all of a sudden I felt a sharp pain in the back of my head, and it was black. Was anything taken?
Oh, we're still trying to figure that out.
Okay. I don't know. Cause I always lock the door, and I always make sure everything's bellowing down. So I don't know how they would have gotten into the interior, the storage, the interior lab. I mean, Mitch has access to the outside one because he delivers, but like, I'm so sorry that this happened. I'll make sure to do a better job next time. Make sure that your products are safe.
You just worry about recovering.
Oh, thank you so much. Just a personal question, if I can. Have you spoken to Devaney recently? Do you know where she is or what she's doing?
She was there when we found you.
Oh yeah, we had a date night sort of thing going on. Friend date.
if you'd like, I can get in touch with Devaney and have her come visit you.
Oh, please. And have you seen Lillith recently? We haven't talked forever.
No, I haven't. I can send her your way when I run into her.
Oh, please. We haven't had chit chat ever since she took the different shifts with her ambulance, with her paramedic job. We just haven't been able to arrange their schedules. And me working nights now, it's a little rough for both of us. But we're pretty good friends. I don't know if you got that.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, I hope it won't affect her, because I understand I heard a rumor that you were wanting to have her transferred.
I did select her for internal transfer.
Oh, she's amazing. Mary's a paramedic. She was top of her class. Told you couldn't pick a better person. And I've never worked with her, but I can imagine it would be so fun to work with her.
Well, decision's up to her. Ball's in her court. But yeah, the job's hers if she would like to have it.
Okay.
I'm actually relatively astonished by your recovery.
I know it's I wasn't I haven't necessarily been religious before, but I mean I might start going to church a little bit more often now. I mean, it's kind of strange. Or maybe it's just some weird medical science or something. Or medical fluke.
It's interesting. But I'm glad to see that you're doing well. Be honest, scared the crap out of me to see you in the way that you were. So I'm...
Oh, I can imagine. I'm
beyond
so sorry.
relieved.
Well,
yeah, I just wanted to stop in and check in, and hopefully I didn't put you off.
No, not at all. Anytime. I'll be out of here in a couple of days. I hope you don't mind that when I go return to work, because of they shaved my head, as you can see. I'm probably gonna get a haircut, and it probably might not be up to code. The policy,
I think we can bend policy for medical reasons.
Yeah. Okay. I just, I don't want to make it not look like your place isn't professional, because, we try.
Well, we look forward to having you back. Take the time that you need.
So.
And I'll get up and start walking out.
Okay. So, is there anything that you guys would like to, you two would like to do before we go on break? Because we're getting about to that break time, so. Oh, Hannibal? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were raising your hand.
Yeah, I was. Just a quick thing. When Hannibal wakes up for the night, with the conversation he had with Lillith sort of ringing through his ears, we'll say that he picked up one of those newspapers.
Okay.
On his back to his haven. And he's sitting in his bedroom with his laptop and the newspaper, and sort of just like sitting there in thought. And then seems like he's deep, like sort of weighing his options, fighting against something. And then he there's a intense moment where he just sort of springs up.
Okay.
Grabbing his laptop, grabbing the newspaper, he grabs the box, he walks over into the other room, he starts clearing off one of the walls. He starts setting up and clipping out the articles from the newspaper. He starts pulling out the files from the box and going through the police reports. And the plan is to have like a city map. And he starts to mark where these different strange crimes and kidnappings and things like that are taking place. throughout the city, and not just specifically the abductions, but anything else that he's able to find on the internet or in the news.
So
Sort of a
cool
montage putting together the big conspiracy board in a sense, right?
You're putting together this is like straight out of the memes. So you have like the big map and everything like that, and you could find a pretty big, map of the city, and you put it up and you start pinning strings and newspaper clippings and post-it notes and maybe some like you're cutting out photos from newspaper articles and other sources that you spend a good significant amount of the early evening doing that. And you look back, and when we return, we will pick up off of that moment, because I believe Hannibal had some searching for things to do on his own. So the night has grown on, and we are going to rewind a little bit to go back to Hannibal, who had, upon awakening, grabbed the newspaper and a map, and had spent the night so far collecting and assembling a conspiracy map, a conspiracy wall, of which he will probably be adding to maybe in the future, if the abductions are serial, like they said. He then called or texted Lillith, and we will start there. Lillith, you arrive to the address that Hannibal had given you. It is a small one-story building that looks like it has been condemned to some degree. It has boards over the window, wire meshing over parts of the small, like, little windows and things like that. The sign looks like it had been taken down. It looks, until recently, it was boarded over in the doorway, but it exists in a very seedy part of the Port District, just outside of your patch. You do not see any telltale signs of kindred markings per se, but then again, you haven't really had much experience so far in locating such things. The area looks very much like a place you would get robbed in if you were caught alone for more than a couple moments, or you were walking down a street. Hannibal, you hear a knock at the door.
Hannibal you'll hear a voice from the other side. Who is it?
Oh, it's me.
Locks will unhinge and the door will crack. You'll see that it's Lillith, and then open it up and let her in.
The interior looks like it very much was a garage that has been renovated into basically a living space. You see the necessary requirements for a living space: a small washstand and a bathroom, a small kitchen that's kind of been placed and arranged for a design, although it does not seem used in quite some time. The area is fairly Spartan, to my knowledge, although you do see a kind of a television set with a DVD kind of in the corner in a it doesn't look like it's like a part of the room necessarily. It's just like set somewhere and somebody angled it in a kind of a weird and awkward placement, so it does kind of stand out to you. You see several DVDs that have been stacked on top of it. It has a basic couch that looks well lived in, and small desk and a table and a chair.
I'm gonna lean against one of the door frames, or the door frame where I came in.
Hannibal walks over and continues like pinning things up to the wall. Takes a few steps back from it, and kind of is looking at all of it.
Lilith will walk over and take a look at what he's looking at.
If you care to describe what your conspiracy wall looks like to Lilith.
So it's the map of the city. Well, there is a map of the city set out. There's like pins put into it, like push pins, right? Different like little cards and post-it notes. Basically any sort of office supplies he had on hand is used to mark things either on it or lead off to like a post-it note with something. There are newspaper clippings that are like a push pin is put in and then a string goes to the newspaper clipping, and it is marking where the action from the specific article supposedly took place. You see a lot to do with the abductions. You see, if Doug's cool with it, perhaps you'll see like a Polaroid photo, like a quick, one of those, you take it and then it just pops out sort of thing. A Polaroid photo of the markings that Hannibal saw on that warehouse.
Okay, that's fine.
Would that be okay? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah. And that's pinned up. You see different things with like shorthand names, like Smokes, and then it points to a general location, not exactly pointing out his house, but sort of a general location, as well as what Hannibal knows of the boundary between the two, the river, and different locations he knows of vampires. And it seems to be at least the beginnings of a map denoting, or a wall in a sense, denoting all of the crimes that seem in some way suspicious, perhaps. A lot to do with the abductions, obviously. Or any crimes that may not seem exactly suspicious, but perhaps Hannibal saw something or read something in them that was a bit suspicious and decided to just keep them there just in case,
So, looking at your map, can I isolate the abductions and their locations?
I think that would be a question for Doug.
Yeah, you can the locations, at least where they were reported to be missing. Some of the abductions, you don't obviously know where the abductions took place. Otherwise, the articles definitely specify they disappeared. Often, the victims seem to have been, were seen one moment, and then sometimes as short of a time as like 5 minutes had passed and they were gone mysteriously. You notice that sometimes some time had passed before they were reported missing. Most of the locations seem to be centered on the eastern side of the river and the side of the river that your patch is located on. But there are some on west. You notice, although there are fewer number on the west bank of the river, that there is a collection of abductions, all in one location. That 3 abductions to be precise, located in the district known as Parkside, which resides in the south, on the west side of the bank, on the south side of that section, which is a kind of a higher end sort of bastion of suburbia, what little remains in the city. You do notice one thing also, however, that as you look at the newspaper clippings, that some of them look older. You know what I mean? Like when you see newspaper after it's been there for a while, you know what I mean? It looks wrinkled and been used or been moved around. So these aren't new newspapers for the majority of them.
I'm gonna look at the dates on the older sheet, and kind of mentally try to log down how old these things get and what they're about.
You notice that the dates, which are labeled by, I would imagine Hannibal, having the skill set to organize such information, would have labeled the dates. And you notice that there seems to be about 2 to 3 abductions a month, stretching back for about a year and a half. They think that it's been going on for maybe up to 2 years, but they're uncertain because abductions do happen. What has caught this notice about this is the mysteriousness in which usually with an abduction there's a motivation or something like that. With this is random disappearances, and like I said, sometimes they just disappear. Like a person, there's one case that a person had literally been talking to the person that had gone missing, and turned around, walked down the street, turned around, walked back. So maybe like 3 or 4 minutes had elapsed, and the person was gone. Yes, Hannibal.
Lilith would also potentially notice in the space that that the locations that are pinned for the abductions are the last location that they were seen at, as though they may have some importance. But Lilith would also notice that there is a box that is mostly empty at this point, and there are files, like folder files, set out not on the wall but nearby, like on top of the table, like they'd been opened and Hannibal had been reading through them. 1 or 2 are maybe near the wall, a few of them having like pictures that Hannibal hadn't quite attached yet. And when you notice that Hannibal will have gone over and picked up one of the pictures from the crime scene of his family dug, and will go and basically put that, pin that to, or any photos of like their missing things or anything that was left over, like whatever evidence there might be from the box, basically.
Okay, you see him pin up a photo from the box. You see a man and a woman standing kind of with their arms around a younger looking version of Hannibal, standing on a lakeside with a fish. Back to you.
I'm trying to figure out what story you're trying to tell.
What do you mean?
Well, there's this picture, and I'll point to the fishing picture. And then there's the rest of this. So which one did you want to talk about?
Remember how I said someone was taken?
Yeah.
He just looks at the picture and then doesn't really say anything. I want. You were saying, Charlie was saying, the other night, that we need to have perhaps a purpose would bring us together. Something more than just blood. And as Hannibal's looking at the wall and not at Lilith, he's speaking.
Mm-hmm.
What if we made this our purpose? Maybe not just this abduction, but things like this. There's a lot of fucked up shit going on in the city. And I'm not saying that we're going to solve all the problems or anything. Perhaps when we discover the issue or what caused them, we bring it up to whoever owns the patch or to the Red Queen themselves, depending upon how intense it is.
I think that's a good idea. I agree.
Could you not mention the thing about my family to the others?
I already forgot.
Okay. I mean, I could spend all night doing this, but I kind of wanted to check in on Charlie's friend.
Yeah. We should probably do that.
Yeah, she seemed like she knew you. You guys, friends or something?
Yeah, we hang out and stuff. Friends from work.
So,
Yes, Charlie.
As we're moving from the end of that conversation down to like the where I'm meeting up with Herkermer, I would send a text to Lilith saying, "Hey, Emily asked about you."
Okay, I'll decide when that text arrives. But yeah, sure. Thank you.
But I think maybe we should definitely check up on her and see how she's doing and find out the rest of the crew is.
Yeah, I think you should do that for sure. I'll head there with you, but I'll give you guys your space, your friends and all that.
Sounds good.
So in that moment, after which I presume they'll both head to the hospital or whatever. Maybe Lilith will drive this time.
Okay.
Hannibal will walk up to the photo, the one of his family, and he'll actually take it down and put it back in the box.
Okay. So once you do leave, as you are getting into the car, you do receive the text that's from Charlie.
Okay. I will shoot him a text back saying heading there now.
If you would both give me a blush of life roll, which is 1 rouse check.
What does it mean? Because you roll the red die for this, right?
I'm meaning Charlie and Lilith in this case because they are interacting with smartphones.
Apologies.
So their phones, in order to use their smartphones, they have to actually blush of life because it doesn't activate otherwise. Like when you were out in the hallway earlier, Charlie, like you could rub your finger over it, but unless you're blushed, you can't interact with smart technology.
Okay. I rolled a 9. Success.
Okay. I don't think anything happens with that failure, but let me double check real quick. And we will decide what happens here in a moment. But continue. As you drive, you will be arriving at the hospital, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I'm stopping by the store and getting her the biggest flower arrangement and bear that I can find at this hour in a store.
Okay.
And then I will go to the hospital and to the room.
Okay. So as you guys arrive and are walking through the hospital, I'm going to look up a rule.
Okay.
For clarification's sake, Doug, is Herkermer and Charlie still there, or did we just miss them?
I would say that you had just missed them, unless
Okay.
you were arranging to be there, or he had sent another text or something like that. To say that.
I think our plan was to do that afterwards, So
Yeah.
I was just checking to see if we happened upon them, based on timing and stuff. So
Yeah.
Well, Charlie probably would send a follow-up to Lillith saying, I'm down in the lab if you need me.
Nothing unfortunate happens to you other than your hunger going up by 1.
Okay.
So as you enter the hospital, of course you probably go to the ICU first, much like Charlie did. You have your interaction, the brief interaction with the nurse, who just seems to be just not having a good day, as they often aren't. Just overworked, and she's very crisp and very short with you, even to the point of being rude. But she's just like, look, she's upstairs, get out of my face sort of thing. But you receive the requisite information about where her room is located. You walk in. Now this is after your shift, because this has gone on in the night. And you are still wearing your scrubs, I'm assuming. So you still have your, and so they just kind of let you in. They don't even inquire. You walk up what room they're in, and you're like, oh, okay, she's down there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll walk in, see if she's awake, kind of peek in.
He shows the lights on. She's sitting there watching TV. As you peek in, you notice the lights are kind of turned down, though. Like, it's like the track lighting is more focused on away from her bed. Like, she's actually turned on the exterior lights instead of the central lights, like people would normally do when they're in a room that they want to be somewhat dark.
Yeah.
She's sitting there, like, staring at the TV, and looks like she's reading a magazine or something.
Knock, knock.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
Come in.
You got moved quick, and I'll come in and I'll hand her the flowers and the bear.
Oh yeah, doctors say it's like a complete miracle. Like one of these, like I was like one of these weird miracle cures. Yeah, like I just woke up and apparently I healed. Like really, like last night they were saying that I was gonna suffer like permanent brain damage or something.
Wow.
Oh, I'm so glad you stopped by. We haven't hung out nearly enough. I have so much to tell you.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
I'll stop and I'll look back to see if the door's closed.
Unless you had...
I'll say that Hannibal had opened it for you, and then as you went in with everything, he closed it and waited outside.
Okay. Oh, yeah, so I think now's a good time. The door's closed, so.
Okay. Anyway, so, oh my God. So me and Mitch have been having problems for a while, right? Ever since I kind of worked a graveyard shift or started working graveyard. He said he would have the time, and because of his shift, ends when I, well ahead of when I get off, but so we've been having tons of issues. He's off work. He says he's working, right? But I know he's out doing other things, either hanging out with friends. I think he might have been cheating on me, honestly. I haven't caught him yet, so I don't really want to accuse him of that, because, that's like kind of a big deal. But he's always making excuses. And anyway, so I thought like it was really going to be, we were really going to be broken up. That was it. I was ready to leave him. Right. Then he started, you know, trying to make a harder effort and everything like that. He even said he was going to quit the gym membership. He said, you know, like, so anyway, I've been kind of hanging out with this other person too. And I think, I really, really like her. And I don't really know what to do because, you know, on one hand, me and Mitch have been together forever. You know that, right?
Yeah.
She's just, wow. You know, like, I feel really bad. Like on one hand, I don't want to lie to him because, you know, but I feel like he's been lying to me because he's always like running off and saying he's delivering things, even though like he takes blood all night long. That's all he does. Right? There's nowhere he's delivering it other than downstairs. You know what I mean? And even then when he's in, he just doesn't even talk to me. He just is out. Like he has something to go do. And he's hanging out with this weird hobo person. Like they had this hobo, he has a hobo friend who came in and stopped and was all being creepy, like asking me questions about how I got assaulted and stuff. Like, and the cops think that he was the one, because it was his key card. He said it got stolen. You know, I'm wondering, I'm really kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of afraid that he might have like found out and maybe got, you never always hear about that, right? You know, people like flipping out and hurting the people that they live with and stuff. And now I don't know. I haven't had anybody to talk to because Devaney's kind of been away, you know, like Mitch, as soon as she like caught, I mean, she knew about Mitch, obviously. And we haven't like done anything yet, but
Maybe you should talk to Mitch about it.
I don't know. I think if I tell him, like, if he was the person who broke in and assaulted me, maybe he's jealous or something. I don't know who would have done that. You know, the Mr. Allsun says that nothing was taken. At least they haven't found anything that was taken. They're still doing investigations.
Do you really think that Mitch would do this?
I don't know anymore. I used to think I knew him, but ever since he's just started, like, you know, over the last year, he's just been off, like, on business when he works in the hospital on hours that he's not supposed to be working. He says he's helping out friends and then he owes people. I think he's just covering. I think he's cheating on me. Maybe it's the person he's cheating on me with. Maybe she stole it. I don't know what to do. I really don't. And you're the only person I've been able to talk to about this that's not caught up. I've kind of made a mess of everything. I really have.
Well, you got hit in the head. That's about it. You didn't really make a mess out of anything.
Yeah, but what's Mr. Allsun going to say when, like, if Mitch is the person that attacked me and that it's because of my relationship that, you know, his place...
Well, that's not your fault. Mr. Allsun is going to understand, pretty sure.
You sure?
Or I can talk to him. Yeah, or I can talk to him.
Are you guys like old friends or something? Like, did you guys go to college together or
something like that? We used to hang out together.
I don't know. I'm really thirsty. And she takes a drink of water and finishes the glass. You notice that there's 3 pitchers on her food cart that are all water pitchers and they're all empty.
You are really thirsty. Have you gotten tested for diabetes?
Yeah, the doctor thought that maybe it was something to do with my blood sugar. Maybe I haven't, and they did a test. I didn't turn up. I'm totally fit. I eat healthy. I don't have any history of diabetes in my family or anything, but I'm just thirsty. I think it's like, I think, you know what? Maybe they gave me a blood transfusion. They gave me a blood transfusion. Maybe it's some of the work that we're doing, you know, with you know, donor blood. Maybe it has something to do with that.
Well, I think I don't know. I don't know how to approach her situation, but I think that you definitely need to talk to Devaney too and see what her perspective is on this.
Yeah, we've been texting a little bit, but I don't want to text too much. I had to, well, don't tell anybody, but I kind of bought a secret cell phone, you know, because I didn't want him to find out, you know, because it was harmless. I was having fun, you know, we weren't doing anything. But I really feel like I could talk to her and she cares, and I just don't know. I don't know.
Well, if you don't trust Mitch, I think that gives you an answer on what you should do next.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give him a little bit of time. Yeah, you know, I mean, until this, at least until this, we have a more of an understanding of what went on, at least, you know what I mean? Because I would like to trust him. I have trusted him, but I mean, you know, this is my life we're talking about. I almost died.
I know. I saw. Do you know how to use a gun?
No? Why would I ever need a gun?
Well, I mean, just in case something happens next time. I could teach.
I can go take Taibo.
That's not going to help you.
Actually, there's this kickboxing place down the street from where I live.
Okay, that might be able to help.
Yeah, I like the sound of that, actually. I've always been wanting a reason to work. I mean, he's always working out. I can go work out.
Yeah. See? Treat yourself.
Okay. Well, you probably I don't want to hold you up anymore. You should probably get going. I probably, they say I need to be getting sleep, but I just feel like I need to get out of this place, you know?
Yeah. Well, you'll be out soon, right?
Yeah, they say it was a complete recovery. I just have some bruises and things like that, and you know they wanted to do a bunch of tests, and that's pretty much the only reason why I'm here. I don't feel bad at all. I feel fine. I feel great. I've never actually felt better. Although, I can't look at. I think they might have knocked. You know how you get hit sometimes, and it does something. It's like I can't really stare at lights really right now. Everything's really bright.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's probably remnants of a concussion.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something strange. I just can't. I can't find a sleep because like I turned off all the lights and everything is still bright. It's just like that moonlight comes in and I can see the entire room just like it's daytime.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's just like I'm really sensitive to things. Maybe I'm seeing stuff right now. You know, so they're running more tests. Yes, Hannibal.
Could I have been lurking nearby at the door?
I would say that you can have pretty much anything out of that conversation you want because you were the one to open the door and you were the one to close the door, so it's your control about how much you were listening in.
At that, when she says that specifically, I'm going to knock on the door and then open it up and be like, "Hey, sorry to interrupt."
She takes one look at you, and you notice this too, Lillith, right? She takes one look at you, and she's like, "Hi. No, come on in."
Do you remember who I am?
I I remember you. You're hanging out with Mr. Allsun. You're like a security guard.
Yes, I'm Hannibal. I'm Mr. Olson's personal security.
Oh, thank you so much for showing. What brings you here? What can I do for you?
Mr. Olson was a little worried about your situation. With all the things going on where you're how do I put this politely? Your boyfriend may have attacked you, and he's just sort of worried, and so I figured I would check in on you and see how you are.
Oh, well, I'm doing great, but I don't feel safe right now, so if you want to stay and protect me, that's fine.
Well, it seems like you have a friend here, so I can
She's
give you both some
leaving.
space.
You can go. She looks over Lilith like, can you go? She gives you that get the hell out of here. He's cute. Sort of look between you. You notice her, as soon as Hannibal walked in her room, by the way, her demeanor completely shifted. Like, hi. That sort of and her attention is 100% fixated on Hannibal.
I'm gonna point at Hannibal. And I'm gonna wave. You should go.
Yeah, I'll come back in a bit. Why don't you continue catching up, and Hannibal will step out.
You don't have to. What are you doing? Oh my God! Did you see him? He's so hot.
You're a hoe.
Oh, shut up. I can look.
Yeah, and this is how you got into a 2-cule. Now you're gonna get into a 3-cule, and it's gonna be really bad.
God, you're right.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? I've never. Oh my God, that has never happened to me before. I swear.
Hoe for show.
You know what? I probably should have yeah. Can you not can you just explain to him that I got hit on the head and I'm probably not all there?
Yeah, I definitely will.
I'm not damaged, and the haircut's only temporary.
That's Rocket.
Sorry,
I love that Lilith's friend is trying to be like, hey, just don't. Can you hook me up with that guy? So awkward.
So, add a character real quick.
Yes.
Hold on a second. This is Emily is somebody that I know. So basically I'm gonna say, speaking of hoes, how's your dad?
My dad's fine. He's great. I guess he has he moved. I think he's up in Alaska now somewhere. He decided he wanted to become a fisherman in his old age or something.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. I guess it's end of life crisis or something, because he's pretty old. I mean, he's a tough guy, you know him. He's always hands on, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing great. He's doing fine. He got a new job up in Alaska. I'm not quite sure where, because he was moving around for a little bit there, but he was getting paid to do it. So
yeah. So are you going to be able to find a place to go, or is Mitch going to be the one to go?
Oh, That's right. As soon as they let me out, I gotta go home. We live together. You know that, right?
Well, I figured.
Yeah, I'll find somewhere. Don't worry about me. I'll go stay at a friend's or something.
Okay, well, let me know. So, do you want me to call Hannibal back in here, or do you need to replace your panties?
I should probably get some sleep.
Okay.
And I don't want to embarrass
I'll let him-
myself. I kind of feel like I embarrassed myself there. Was I that bad?
It was bad.
Oh no. Okay. So you leave.
Yeah. Sorry, Hannibal. Your fan is asleep.
I wanted to ask her a few questions, but I understand.
Oh, I'm sure she wanted to ask you a lot more than that.
I think it's just you, Lilith. Apparently, anytime you and I are in the same room with a female, apparently they've got something.
What?
You just said the thing about the Red Queen.
Well, that's fair.
So where do you guys go now?
I guess we're gonna go to the common place, to the HQ, to see if Herkermer and Charlie had texted me that he's in the lab. So I'm gonna text him back. Do I have Herkermer's information, or does he even have a phone?
He has a booster phone, like a prepaid sort of phone that he uses. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
gave him a microphone, if I remember right.
do I have to do another rouse check to use my phone?
No, it lasts for the scene.
Okay, so I'm gonna send a text out to Herkermer and Charlie and go HQ question mark.
Okay, so you guys text, and assuming by the nod that Charlie has given, and Herkimer, we will. Oh, there you go.
I was going to text back when.
And you'll get a text back that says meow.
All right. Currently looking at basement.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and transition over to that scene. You guys leave the hospital in the middle of the night. Get back in your car. Charlie leaves around the same time from the labs. Let's say that you guys run into each other briefly at the parking lot. As you guys are getting in cars, you're like, hey, and then drive back to the HQ, the Coterie Haven. We really should get a name for it. So you guys find yourselves back there. We'll say that because Lilith and Hannibal were the ones who took off first from the hospital, that they are the ones who arrived first. Charlie is right coming up behind. So you come walking in. Come to the security door. Herkermer said he was downstairs. And you find yourselves back at the headquarters. So we'll begin with Herkermer. You see them come down the stairs.
Well, how do?
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I found out some information about who beat up Emily.
Who's that?
I don't know who did it, but I know that my friend Mitch Sloan had his ID stolen, and then that someone used that to get her. I also know that the vial that was on the floor is thin blood alchemy, but I also know that it is more powerful than anything I could make. Far powerful. Far more powerful than anything I could make. It's meant to give the person strength.
Howdy, howdy.
How do you? I was just filling them in on the things that I found out.
Lillith, did you stop in, check up on Emily?
Yeah, I had a conversation with her. What's up?
She was just requesting you. I'm not sure if you got my...
Oh,
message.
yeah, I did.
So you saw her?
Yeah,
You notice how she's healed?
yeah, I did notice.
That's a little odd.
No, that's completely unbelievable. I saw her head.
Same. And I don't know I don't know the extent of your medical training, but I know what it requires to be in one of the ambulances, and you know that's not right.
I'm gonna look over at Hannibal with my eyes narrowed.
Hannibal is trying to avoid Lilith's gaze, but is trying to do so in a way that doesn't seem like he's doing it on purpose. You know, like he's kind of like lost in thought, like, no, what's this? You know, like while he's just listening.
Herkermer,
Yes, ma'am.
break my arm.
Why?
Break my arm.
No.
Charlie,
What?
break my arm.
For what purpose?
I want to try something.
You promise not to go all claws on me?
Yeah.
Okay. Go over there and hold her arm down to the desk. Ready?
Ready.
He'll apply pressure.
Okay, fuck. Fuck. Hold on. Go ahead.
After your arm is broken, Herkermer, what you wanted wanted to interject with something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, as it's happening, Herkermer's pulling out a small notebook and a pen.
Okay. Continue.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to will myself to heal it. What do I have to do? Do I have to roll?
Say you did 1 superficial damage to make a sufficient break. So yes, you have to make 1 rouse check. Heal. Did you fail?
Yeah.
Okay, so the arm still heals, but you go up 1 hunger. You feel the
Okay.
as you mend the arm back. The smell of the decayed vitae within your veins triggers the bestial instinct within you. You find your lips puckering that much more. You're suddenly very thirsty. You haven't been this hungry in quite some time, but you have it under control.
I'm gonna look back over at Hannibal. Didn't you say that drinking somebody else's blood makes you kind of enthralled with them? What did you do?
What do you mean?
Emily is miraculously saved. I saw the inside of her head. When she saw you, she about orgasmed. What did you do?
Was I supposed to just let her die? Like, what? I fed her my blood. I made her a ghoul. She was a dear friend of Charlie's. She has information pertinent to everything that's going on. She's a friend of yours. I didn't think any of you would have the will to be able to do that to her. And remember how I talked about we each have our moments where we lose ourselves? That was mine. I made a decision that in the future would have served me best, but it wasn't the ethical decision. And it does good for her, but yeah, I just... As I said to you earlier, we don't always do the right thing.
Does the enthralling part wear off?
It can. Takes time, though.
How much time?
Depends. I'm not intimate with all of the details. I've only done this like once before, and it was for sort of a similar situation.
So you make slaves.
I don't want her to be my slave. I just didn't want her to die. Our blood, when given to people, lets them heal like we heal. You heard what she said and what the doctors said. If something miraculous didn't take place, she would have died. She would have had brain damage. And then a friend of yours, a friend of Charlie's, one of his best workers, and a person wrapped up in all of this would have died.
And now she's thirsty for blood.
Our blood is like any drug. Once it touches your lips, you want more of it.
So you saved her, but instead of giving her life back, you turned her into a smaller version of us.
It was the only way to save her life.
Is that a life, though?
If the enthrallment can wear off, maybe. I'm not mad. As long as nothing else happens to her.
Is she?
Did you not hear what I said, Herkermer? I said I did it to save her life. Why do you think I would hurt her? In fact, I did the opposite. I saved her life.
I'm not thinking you're going to hurt her.
No, you hurt her. You made her your slave. Of course you hurt her. She's thirsty. How are you going to explain to her that she needs to drink blood? Are you just going to abandon her? What's going to happen if you don't continue feeding her blood? What's going to happen when you have to feed her blood? You did hurt her.
She hasn't been a ghoul long enough that she'll die if she doesn't get my blood.
So she can die if she doesn't get your blood?
No, I'm saying the opposite, Lilith. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying I saved her life. If she had been a ghoul for a long period of time and I stopped giving her blood, sure, yes, she would die. But if I give her my blood once, it will eventually wear off. And nothing will change for her other than she'll have a miraculous story about her brush with death and her somewhat strange, however long, that she really liked Charlie's security guard.
Lilith is going to turn around and walk off to her section of the HQ.
Does anybody other than Hannibal, or does it, for Hannibal actually, does anybody have anything to say as Lilith walks off? Like anything as she's...
Not to her.
Okay. So Lilith walks off, leaving the three of you. We'll go back to you here in a minute, Lilith.
I can understand why she's upset. I don't agree with why she's upset. Because I'm grateful that she's alive. Thank you, Hannibal.
I didn't want it to wear on your conscience, Charlie. I thought about asking you to do it. But then I knew perhaps you might doubt yourself. You might wonder, is she working for me still because she wants to? Or because she has to? Is she being nice to me because she has to? Or because she wants to? I presume you have something to say to me, Herkermer?
I do.
Spit it out.
Well, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you for saving Emily. How it works is very unfortunate. But I also kind of like, I disagree with how it was done, but I don't disagree with the results.
There was only one other way, and this was the easier choice.
What was the other way?
I make her one of us.
Well, at least this way she gets to retain herself after a time.
That was my thought process too.
I just want to make sure that she doesn't get wrapped up into something that she is unaware of because of an unfortunate allure to you.
I plan to give her space, although I am worried that whatever her boyfriend's involvement in all of this is, that it may come back to hurt her again.
I think that the extent of his involvement is that he has had his ID stolen. I've known Mitch for a while. I saved his life. He was dying in the back of my ambulance, and I saved his life. So we've been friends for a while. And Mitch is not capable of doing what happened to Emily. He doesn't have it in him.
There's
People
something
change.
that's becoming evident in our conversations revolving around Emily and Mitch. And that is that Mitch is spending a majority of his time outside of work doing something that is unexplained as of yet.
He told Lilith that he would. Emily told Lilith that what Mitch tells her is that he's delivering blood.
That's because he is.
How do you know that?
Who do you think is my main contact in this hospital for moving stuff?
So Mitch steals blood and then gives it to you?
Well, he doesn't steal it. There's a system that goes on here. I'm not exactly sure how it goes, but I know that he works within the system that's here, gets his surplus, gives it to me to be delivered to wherever it needs to go.
Is Mitch aware of us?
I don't think so. I think he just I believe that he believes he is transporting blood for kind of unauthorized medical experiments. I think he just thinks that he's doing something for some shady medical thing. He has no idea. At least he doesn't have an idea from me.
Herkermer, more and more it seems like you're wrapped up in whatever this is. But as Lilith pointed out to me, it may not be knowingly.
Well, I hope that I'm not unknowingly. I don't want to be wrapped up in anything, especially that drags other people in it with me. Hey, if somebody wants to come at me, they can just come at me. They don't have to beat up my friends to get at me. I really think it's someone who knows me is trying to make me the fall guy.
Well, the evidence didn't necessarily lead to you being the person who did the crime. But it did seem like there was someone on the inside feeding whoever it was information.
Well, it wasn't me. Mitch is my friend. I would never advise him to go and attack his girlfriend. As a matter of fact, he came to me talking about his girlfriend and how they were having troubles because he was going to the gym all the time. And I told him to maybe cut back on the gym time, see his girl more. I tried to help him.
Is he working for what are they called, the circulatory system too?
No, he not directly. You know, he's not like an initiated member, I don't think. I just know that on certain times we get calls. He'll bring me some stuff to take to somewhere else.
If your friend's not capable of performing this task or isn't capable of being involved in this, if that's what you're saying, then why did someone have his key card?
I don't know. Look, I'm not Sherlock Holmes. I can't just put stuff together by looking at the side of a pineapple.
The point that I'm making to you, Herkermer, is just because you know a guy and you've known him for a long time and you and him go way back, and that's just not the sort of guy he is. Times have changed for you, Herkermer. You don't get to make decisions like that about people anymore because you're always going to see one face and then it will be a different one behind your back. Whether because they want something from you, they want you to do something for them, they want to manipulate you, they want to kill you, or they want something you have. So yes, Mitch should be a suspect in your mind until you can prove that he's innocent. Because people change.
So I just have to presume that everybody's guilty? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying that you have to stop being naive.
I have to admit that it is a possibility. However, I do not agree with that possibility.
Sure.
But I will have it open in my mind that it is a possibility. But if you would have seen the way Emily was pushing him around in the hospital, I don't think that there's much of a threat from him.
There is a threat because she wants to break up with him.
Did not know that.
And perhaps he found out about this, or perhaps he found out about her girlfriend on the side and he got a bit jealous.
That is...
Does Lilith come walking back in? Okay. Hannibal will get quiet when Lilith walks back in.
Before you walk back in, Lilith, you left in a very angry state. After hearing the news of somebody who was dear to you, who had been harmed in your eyes. When you were away, is this the sort of situation where you may have calmed down and come to a much more objective conclusion? Or are you...
There wasn't enough time.
Or are you still angry about... Even if you're pushing that anger off to the side, are you still angry about that?
My intent, yes, I am very angry.
Okay, so I'm going to ask, as soon as you walk back in the room, go ahead and give me a willpower roll.
How much willpower is our base?
It's resolve plus composure. And you may not use willpower to reroll willpower, by the way. And you do not use your hunger. You don't substitute your hunger dice for this roll.
Oh, you don't substitute your hunger dice.
It's one of the few rolls you don't.
Five successes.
Okay, so you come back and you're still angry. You push it off to the side and you're just like, okay, and you're going to come back into the room. And as soon as you come back to the room, you see Hannibal again. Even without thinking about it, you feel the beast rise within you. You feel your fingers curl within your, on your pocket, or grab at your pants or whatever item as you try to restrain yourself. The rest of you see Lilith re-enter in as though she's about ready to say something, stop. And then the look on her face, the eyes glaze over for a brief second, and the killer shows itself for a fraction of a second. As her fangs bare, the blush is now gone completely from your skin. And after a brief second, you manage to restrain the urge as you feel the urge to kill. The urge to rip into his chest with your claws and rip out his heart and feast on him. Predatory instinct, not based off of any rational logic, but only the urge to destroy. And somehow, you quell that. You bottle it up. You shove it back down to the pit it belongs into. And you shake it off. It having taken you completely by surprise because you are still uneasy with your beast. And you may continue.
You were listening to our conversation and now you're here spouting everything out.
You're doing the same right now, aren't you?
Lilith is gonna walk past Hannibal, like kind of shoulder checking him a minute, like, and then she's gonna walk out.
Hannibal will turn as she's walking out and say, "Would you rather your friend have died?"
Then be a slave? Yes.
Once again, the room is left to the cold wake of Lilith's anger. Lilith, what are you doing?
She's getting into her car and is just randomly driving right now. I'm trying to make a decision on where Lilith would be going.
Okay, so you want us to come back to you in a moment while you make a decision? Yeah. Okay, so while she's driving, while this is happening, of course. Okay, so going back to the scene. Hannibal, you say what you can. She just keeps walking, and you hear her reply.
Charlie will unwisely follow Lilith.
Okay, as you guys see Charlie get up to move, does anybody have anything to say or do while he's moving after her? Or are you trying to flag her down, or are you just trying to get in the car and follow her? Or
Just following her.
okay. So you just get in the car and follow her. Are you telling them what you're intending on doing before you leave, or are you just walking out?
No, I don't think there's enough time.
Sure. Okay. So you get up and walk out after. The demeanor on Charlie's face is not angry, though. He's just more looks like he's concerned with Lilith as he gets up and walks out quickly. It leaves you, Herkermer and Hannibal, alone in the room.
If I found your friend Desmond and questioned him, would that upset you?
As long as you didn't hurt him.
What if he won't talk? What if he's the criminal?
Well, I would prefer you don't hurt him.
What if he's been lying to you this whole time and has been using you for your connection? What if he's been manipulating you?
I don't see it. Because he's never really asked me to do anything. Except try some of his random experiments that he's made. That are actually, some of them are pretty good. Like there's one that he did that he came over and we did it. And I swear to God, I felt like I was flying for like, I don't know, like 30 minutes. But it was like a flash. And it was fun.
You guys have talked a lot, I bet, though, right?
We do.
Perhaps in one of those conversations that led to your former job. To where you get the blood from. Maybe you mentioned Mitch's name.
But I've worked with Desmond. I've worked with Desmond in the past. Like he was with me when Betty got ate on by Grayson.
He was with you when Betty's blood burned a kindred from the inside out.
Yeah.
Does that not seem weird to you?
Not really, because I was there and I didn't have nothing to do with it. So who's to say that he has something?
Snap right in front of Herkermer's face. Do you not see what I'm saying? Your friend might be manipulating you. Your friend might be the person who did all of this. You said he was more experienced than you at making those things, right? And then from your own mouth, you said that that was something beyond your skill. Now, maybe he didn't think it would hurt you, and it hasn't. But maybe he also thought he could use the things you told him to get something from you.
Yeah, okay, well, what would he want from me? I don't have anything.
Maybe something's missing from the lab. I don't know.
Nothing was taken. At least nothing of import was taken. Charlie and I went through the records. We didn't find nothing. Well, Charlie went through the records. I looked for the video.
Yeah, there's obviously something missing. Maybe it wasn't a theft.
I don't know.
That's all I've been trying to convince you of, Herkermer. We don't know. We don't know who we can trust.
Yeah, but that's not an excuse just to go around hurting every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes along that you think might be wrapped up in some kind of evil conspiracy.
Who have I hurt, Herkermer?
You're talking about hurting my friend.
If he's involved in this?
Yeah, but you're talking about hurting him to figure out if he's involved with this before you know.
There are other ways I could question him. I'm just trying to see where you stand on this whole issue. How far are you willing to go to find out who did this? There's a million things like this going on in the city. Things getting stolen strangely. Abductions, deaths. How far are you willing to go to find the truth? I have some
Yes,
things.
as far as I need. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. What were you going to say?
I suppose as far as I need.
That I respect. Sorry, I blamed you. I should have waited and thought it out.
Thank you for that. But it's like my little brother always says, finish the job. Currently we have a job to try and clear, well, I have a job to clear my name.
Sure.
Because you are right. I am wrapped up in something in some way, and it is exceedingly uncomfortable.
Actually, I could use your help with something, Herkermer.
What's that?
Will you come somewhere with me? I'm not going to hurt you or anything.
I know. I'm just giving you shit. Where are we going?
We're going to a place that could be potentially very dangerous for both of us.
All right.
Okay. And Hannibal will lead Herkermer out to his car. They'll hop in the sedan, and yeah.
Okay, so we'll come back to that in a moment, where you guys
Yeah,
are
sure.
going. Lilith, you have been driving around. You noticed right as soon as you started driving around the street that quickly, soon after Charlie's car was just driving around behind you. Two questions. One, how do you respond to Charlie following you? And two, where do you think you would be going?
I'm attempting to lose him, and I am going to go to Deacon's house.
Okay. You attempt to lose him. Now you are a pretty proficient driver. What would your drive skill dots be? Oh, you're not. Oh, 1. Okay. Just so like, what do you think, Charlie? Do you think that she would be able, with a with her skill level, be able to lose you, or maybe for a temporary time?
I have 2 dots.
Okay. So you're following along. Charlie doesn't seem to be easily shaken. Do you still proceed to Deacon's house?
No, not until I lose him.
For the sake of expediency,
Yeah.
can we agree that you would lose him for a temporary moment? Maybe got lucky going down the street one way or another, and but he will be able to follow you into the scene.
Oh yeah.
At my course, when I decide, he will, of course, because his skill at driving is better than yours.
Yeah.
Come in. Okay. So you eventually think you lose him. You lose him. You drive down a thing. He goes one way, you go another. Charlie, you see her dart off, and you start looking down the roads to try to catch up. Lillith, you end up driving to Deacon's residence. After a couple moments, you drive up. You get out. Are you just walking up to the door, or?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna look around and see if there's anybody sus or anything, and then I'll go and knock on the door.
You look around, you don't see anybody. You do notice that the same bird that's perched outside your house flaps up into one of the trees. It seems to follow you. But it just looks at you, and it has like this sort of look on its face that might be sort of approving.
Okay, I'll acknowledge it. Like I'll look at it directly and just kind of nod my head. And I'll knock on the door.
So you walk down and knock on the door. You can hear rhythmic vibration of music going on inside. As soon as the door opens, like the volume escalates quickly because it's very obvious that the interior is soundproofed. You can see soundproofing foam all along the thing, and you see Deacon, and he's got like this shirt, lounge shirt, looks like it might have been nice, like sort of clubbing shirt at one point in time, but it's just kind of like he's got like that sort of messy rock star look, and he's like hi hold on, and he walks over and he turns down the volume. You come on in.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Is it rest of you guys here, or just you?
No, just me. I think I lost the other guy.
Oh, you see his house is basically like very loungy. You notice that there is a huge, 2 huge tables set up with lots of like mixing boards and computers and mixing equipment and some amps and things like that, like things that you would typically expect to see in a studio, like a professional studio. He's like, hey, I was just getting back to work. You're not kicking me out, are you?
No, I'm... How old are you?
Like, what do you mean, like?
Like vampire old?
I was embraced that about 20 years ago.
Okay, so I was thinking, you said that you're a Toreador. You guys are like all about the passion and the lust of life and things like that, right? So who better to ask about blood bonds than you, right?
Okay. That's... You want to blood bond me?
No, what?
Okay, so what, I'm a little confused. Like, you...
So that's slavery, right?
Well, it depends on how you treat it.
So if you're gonna go save somebody's life, right? A person who might otherwise come out unscathed or something like that, or severely disabled, and you feed them your blood and they get better, right? Isn't that slavery?
No, not per se. I mean, or, you know, like, why did you did that? Is that...
No, I'm asking for a friend.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, it's you know, I wouldn't worry about it. You know, it's it's a kind of... You have influence. I mean, it's kind of like it depends on how you... Like, okay, let me put it this way. When I was human, right, you know, I would play in a band, right? And of course I had an image, and I would get up there and I'd play, and I'd get these kids, or, you know, people, club, you know, girls who would want to, you know, they wanted this, you know, it's and I knew it, right? You know, but... And while other people in my position would use that to get, you know, to take advantage of the person, you know, I didn't. You know, they were... I just, you know, just treat them like they were friendly. And, you know, it's not... You know, I knew I had that power over people. And when I became a kindred, it was the same thing. I have the ability to manipulate people. But that's like... It depends on what you do with it, right? You know, well, I was bloodbound for a long time, and you said it was only one drink.
Yeah,
And
I think
for us it's a... For us it's pretty similar. But I was... See, the more you drink, and there's like weird rules, like if you drink once every 3 nights, the bond gets stronger. And until at that point it becomes overriding. At that point I would call it slavery. But one drink is just like... That's like an infatuation, you know, and it depends on really what you do with that infatuation. If you if your friend took advantage of the person, yeah, it's slavery. Because well, it's not slavery. It's they still have the choice, and if they try to make them do something that is completely detrimental to them, if they want to go hurt themselves, they you know, the bond can actually break in some cases. Around that time, you hear a knock at the door, and Deacon walks over to answer it. Like, gives you a look, and he's like, oh. And he cracks the door open, and Charlie's standing there. Hey dude, wanna come in?
No, just dropping something off for Lillith.
Cool.
She is in there, but...
Oh yeah, we were just chatting.
He hands Deacon a cooler.
And he takes it. He's like, "Oh, cool."
It has a
Cooler.
note on it.
Oh, okay. Thanks, dude. You sure you don't want to come in? Are you good? Okay.
Charlie will go back to his car and just wait.
Turns up and he's like, "Oh, just let me hold on." Sets it down. He's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it unless it's more." And even then, it's when people come in interaction with us, we're like infectious. Once they come in proximity, we ruin lives. So in some cases, it's even the best thing for them. But like I said, it depends on what you do with it. I was bloodbound by my sire. Yeah, it wasn't very nice. It was that was slavery. So,
I'm sorry.
well, it's not much I could do about it. I mean, she's embraced me, and I tried to fight it quite a bit, but she's old, powerful. So after a while, I think the most I could expect is to not to just be fine and not make her angry. After a while, she relaxed it because, well, I think she thought it was more detrimental, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it did for the most part.
Nice tattoo.
Thanks.
You go to
Yours too.
You go to the Dream?
Yeah.
That place is cool. I wouldn't talk about it with other people, but because it's kind of like weird. They, you end up saying shit there that you wouldn't say to anybody else.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of nice.
Well, I'm kind of busy because I got a band lined up.
Yeah, I'll see myself out.
Yeah. Well, thanks for stopping by anytime. And by the way, like you kind of have to wait a little while before you get one of their cards. But if you end up getting a card, can you let me know so I can drop by the next, book a session?
Yeah.
I got a lot to unload.
Yeah, no problem. And now we'll walk out.
Do you and Charlie leave together, or?
Yeah.
So let's
Did she get the cooler?
I think that was to you, Lilith.
Oh, me? No. Yeah, she'll pick up the cooler. She'll take it with her. And then she'll open it in the car.
It's got a note.
Okay.
Says
What's the
some
note?
snacks for the road. Love, Mom. And it's got the little container in there.
It's the juice box. And she will gladly drink from the juice box.
Go ahead and slake one. You end up feeding on 2 canisters because it's for every 2 bags of blood you slake 1 hunger. So it is bagged blood. So go ahead and slake 1 hunger, you're reducing it to 2. For our final scene, because it is approaching time, unless we want to pick it up. Do you think it will be very lengthy? Do you want some time to let it drift, or go ahead, Hannibal?
I think that in 5 minutes or so we can at least do a setup, and then even if we do it in downtime, at least people kind of know what's going on mostly.
Sure, I wanted to let you guys return because I was you guys wanted to go somewhere. So go ahead. Let's start. Where you guys go?
So Hannibal drives Herkermer to the section of our territory that the warehouse is in, that he had the experience with, where there was the secret markings denoting that hunters may be nearby. There was the sweatshop inside, that sort of thing. So they'll pull up, and they'll be a ways away, but not so far away that Hannibal can't point it out specifically. And Hannibal will, after they've reached a stop and kind of sit there for a second, Hannibal will reach over the top of the steering wheel as he's holding it and point and be like, "You see that building over there, Herkermer?"
Yes, sir.
That is the exit from the tunnel from the old Prince's Haven.
All right. So our basement connects to that.
Well, the Prince's Haven does.
Same thing.
There is a sweatshop inside. And there are markings, and I'll try to point to the markings, like I'll pull the scope out, or like a binoculars or something like that, and I'll point to where it is and let Herkermer see, and point out the graffiti markings that denote that hunters may be here.
Yeah, you see basically a circle with a tagging of an H and a V, kind of interlaced in between a mesh of actual traditional graffiti. And then there's a ripped poster that shows an alien invader attack with where one of the aliens has this crazy looking spear, and it's got this cloak coming off of it that's been drawn over the poster, but it has shaped like bat wings. You would never guess the two, but once he points it out, it's it's like the H and the V is pointing directly at it, and
Huh. Are there more markings like this?
That's what I'm going to find out, but first I want to shut this sweatshop down.
All right. What did you need from me?
I could use your help with reconnaissance. You had said that you can be awake during the day.
Uh-huh.
I want to suss this place out. I can take the night shift, you can take the day shift, etc.
Well, it doesn't stop my need for sleep.
Can you sleep during the night?
I mean, I can, but I feel more awake at night.
Oh, okay. I thought you could just be awake, like you chose when you slept. I just know that
No.
I can't choose when I sleep. As soon as day starts coming, I'm out. Kind of a thing.
Yeah, no, I feel more healthy during the nighttime. But during the day, I can walk around and go do other stuff. Like I lose any abilities. I lose
Nothing.
all my abilities.
I'm thinking we find a perch nearby, someplace covered and out of the sunlight. We set up a camera or something pointed in the direction over wherever their entrance is, and we try to get as much information about who's going in, who's coming out as we can. Try to suss out maybe who the boss is, etc.
Okay. I can see about doing that.
Yeah, I figured you and I could work together on those.
That sounds definitely like something we can do.
Yeah. Okay. And then Hannibal will drive off, trying to take a weird route just in case, because he hasn't seen any hunters, but he's not sure if having been nearby now means hunters are aware of him or something like that, right?
okay. And that's where we'll leave off then. The warehouse is actually more of a building. It's a very old brick building, by the way, just for the brief description of Herkermer, and they're revisiting it for the audience because this is the first time you've seen outside of it. It's an old brick building. It stands about, I think I said 8 stories. It's pretty tall for an older brick building. It has, the windows look like they used to be more fortified on the outside, and then there's obviously renovations that have been made with more modern windows. The curtains are shut. It looks on the front of it, you see basically a laundry service sign and a public entrance. Around the back, there is actually a van with some, like where you see basically people hauling boxes and putting stuff in a van for the laundry service, and the van drives off. But yeah, other than that, like I mean, there's we'll come back to this later on. But for now, we're gonna call this one close.